Welcome to our webinar here. This is going to be solving the NX training challenge for your engineering team. My name is Dempsey Rogenbuck. I'm a business development manager here at Sherpa. I'll be your business point of contact, so anything and everything in that regard I can address. I'll introduce your technical point of contact here, Devin. He's a senior mechanical engineer, full-time NX specialist. And so anything technical he will head up for us. You'll notice you're all in listen only mode. So feel free to put any questions you have in the chat. We'll feel free to answer them at the end, or if they're extremely pertinent at the time, we will try to address them right then and there. But without further ado, let's jump into it. All right, so briefly, I'll touch on who Sherpa is, the different hiring challenges we've found of NX training specifically, a couple different options that are currently on the market, and we'll show you how we've combated that through our training platform, give you a brief demo of said platform, and we'll all wrap up with a brief Q&A at the end. So like I said, feel free to put your questions in the chat. So who is Sherpa? We're a design and engineering firm. It's been pushing the boundaries of Siemens NX solutions since our founding in 2001. We're a former Siemens software partner, so we really understand the challenges of adopting a new software and especially the training investment required to realize that full value of NX CAD. Over the last 20 years or so, we've worked with different companies in aerospace, automotive, consumer electronics, defense. And so we feel like we have been able to cater our content to each and every industry. We've trained hundreds of users at this point, and really specialize in maximizing your investment in NX CAD specifically. I'll now introduce our instructor and technical point of contact here, Devin.
Thank you, Dempsey. Yes, my name is Devin Croswell. I'm a senior design engineer and NX specialist with Sherpa Design. And I've been working with NX in various capacities for almost 20 years now. For the last 6 years, I've actually been training up engineers of various industries in all things NX CAD. And later on in this presentation, I'll go over what these courses look like and a bit about how they work. But for now, back to you, Dempsey.
Cool, thanks, Devin. So I'll briefly touch on the hiring challenges we've really seen and how we've combated that. So the hiring challenges it's really an issue finding engineers who are skilled in NX. The software is complex. It takes time to master. Your engineers with experience in other CAD softwares are really going to struggle to transfer their skills easily. And many companies who are bringing on candidates all the time, they're promising, but usually they lack NX experience and they need that training. I know only a handful of universities, maybe 5 or 6, have it in their current curriculum. So the talent pool coming in is quite limited as well. The different consequences of untrained employees we've seen is you're going to struggle to meet those deadlines and produce that quality work your organization is known for. You're going to end up with parts that aren't set up correctly. That's going to be costly down the line, and it's going to become especially evident when you need to change a model or design. As far as the benefits we've seen with providing training, it's a great way to gain and retain that top talent. It increases the job satisfaction, productivity, and overall morale. If everyone's confident around each other, it allows folks to be confident and bring everyone else around them. So, a rising tide raises all ships sort of thing. And the last benefit we've really seen, it's going to reduce those mistakes in your part setup as well as improve your accuracy and your delivery times here. A couple of challenges we have seen is the time and talent, right? So the reluctance to lose your engineers for an entire week of offsite training looms quite large. Most of your entry-level courses are going to run about 5 days or so, and during which time your engineers are going to be unable to contribute that billable work. All of your other projects here are also going to come to a standstill, and the spin-up time required for post-training is really only adds to that dilemma. The other challenge here is the cost of training one engineer at a time, right? So a lot of project hiring happens, we know, over time, and with engineers coming on every few weeks or even months, the question becomes, when are you going to hold that training? You want your current employees up to speed as soon as possible without having to wait until you have enough people to justify an instructor-led class. and a single engineer's training might not justify all the way of flying in a trainer direct to you. The last one is that scheduling challenges. So scheduling that time that works for your engineering team who needs the training right then. When are you going to bring in the trainer, or when are you going to send your team away for training? That decision can be quite difficult. And then you have other factors, right? So what if one member can't make it or is even sick that week? Do you cancel for everyone or risk leaving someone behind? We think we've got a pretty solid solution for that. There's a couple different NX training solutions on the marketplace currently, and they really fall into four major categories. That's on-site, off-site, online, and remote. So the off-site is sending your team to a hosted training center. That on-site is bringing a instructor direct to you, to your facility. The remote training is similar to the off-site, just dialing in from your location to a remote training, but and then the online training is pre-recorded video sessions and activities. So I'll touch on briefly each one of them and show you how we've combated that. So the first being offsite at a hosted training center. So this is sending your team away, right? So it's easy to train one employee at a time. You're going to have lower costs than bringing a instructor direct to you via on-site. You're going to get that good feedback from an on-site instructor. However, you're going to lose your engineers while they're away. Like I said, often it's up to 5 days, and that time's going to be even more extended by travel time. There's going to be travel and accommodation costs you need to take into consideration. And competition is possible as well. There may be competitors in the class, so that open discussion that you're after can be limited. The classes here are less customizable than on-site, and finding a class available that matches your engineer's schedule is quite the challenge itself. Like I said, they're typically on specified dates, only once or twice a month or so. Another option is the on-site at your facility. This is quite expensive. You still get the unfettered access to your instructor for questions. You get to have those open discussions without those IP concerns that some of the other options may pose. But like I said, it's expensive. The cost here is especially high for training one student at a time. Most training vendors will have a 5-person minimum. So if they charge, let's say, $3,000 a person, that's $15K quite quickly. However, downside here, you're going to have downtime for your team. Like I said, often you're losing them a day all the way up to a week. Not all companies are going to have suitable training facilities, so being locked in a conference room for a full 5 days is tough. Another thing we hear a lot is engineers are not always fully engaged. So whether they're on their phone, answering emails during class, slacking each other, we've noticed that as a potential downside as well. For remote into a hosted training center, this is your team at your facility dialing in with an instructor. But so there's two ways to really do remote. One where your engineers can log in remotely to a training instructor session. That's going to give you all the same pros and cons of offsite, except the cost of travel. So you reduce that. It's cost effective compared to on-site and off-site training one employee at a time, as there's no student minimums here. However, that downtime is still there. Like I said, about a day all the way up to a week. Possible competitors in the class, so that open discussion that you could be after can be quite limited. You're not going to have classes that are customizable, and finding a class that matches your engineer's schedule might be the challenge itself. So they're typically held, like I said, on specific dates, only once or twice a month. So let's say your new hire starts at the beginning of the month, the first class is at the end of the month. You have to wait that full month to even have them beginning to contribute to billable work. The next one's remote at your location. So everyone's still in-house dialing in, but you still have an instructor just remote. So having an instructor remote into your location, it's going to have all the issues of on-site training, but looking at the latter, this is one we currently offer. So you do get unfettered access to an instructor for questions. You get those open discussions without risking those IP concerns. However, you still have the scheduling issue. So fitting that instructor with all your engineers' availability, plus the downtime that you need to take into consideration lasting a day up to a week, It's also expensive. The cost here is high for training one student at a time, especially because with remote at your location, there will be a minimum number of students required. Often, like I said, it's about 5. So before you can even book a trainer, you need to have 5 ready to go. And sometimes you're still going to have those engineers that are not fully engaged. This is how we've combated this through our next option here is the online training. This is far and away your least expensive solution. There's going to be no student limits as these classes are recorded, so trainers can often offer them for less. They're easy to schedule. Your engineers can take them on demand on their schedule. You don't need to lose them for long periods of time anymore. So they can work a few hours a day on the class and still be available for other projects. The bad part is that there's no actual or very little to even real online training out there that is as professional as the in-person training. And the problem with any classes that might be out there is that they're not really able to provide instructor support or feedback. So we think we have a fantastic way to combat this. And I'll let Devin take over here.
All right. Thank you, Dempsey. And you're right. What sets the online courses at nxtraining.com apart from the others that we mentioned is that we are providing that instructor support as a resource, myself as a resource. Another great aspect of our classes is how they've been constructed to deliver the content. Basically, the challenges to training that we've been talking about so far, we're trying to solve those and more with this platform. The first course that we developed for this platform is our NX CAD Foundations course. We actually transitioned our long-running NX Foundation class to this online platform, and it's designed for engineers with some CAD experience, but are newer to NX. It's comprehensive, and the curriculum features the most recent versions of NX CAD. It covers foundational aspects, including sketching, solid modeling, assemblies, drafting, as well as how to configure that user interface to be helpful and the most efficient use of NX. Engineers will also gain hands-on experience and practical knowledge that they can apply to their real-world projects right away. The courses themselves use a combination of instructional videos along with modeling activities and a workbook, a PDF, to get you up to speed with the full capabilities of NX CAD. The videos provide a step-by-step walkthrough of each of the tools and features that we're covering. And these aren't just simple or short YouTube how-to videos. They are guides based on our best practices with reasoning behind each decision that we're making throughout the process. The courses are packed full of activities, real NX-based exercises, and engineers will open up and work through models using the NX platform, as well as NX parts that they will be creating from scratch. These models will allow engineers to practice what they are learning throughout the class in a hands-on and real way. Included with each course is a downloadable workbook. This is a PDF file that can be referred to and returned to any time during the course or after. It's yours to keep. The workbook will include all the step-by-step activities, as well as notes on various important aspects of NX, its workflow, and the environment. The classes are broken down into sections with quizzes or knowledge checks, and these are designed to ensure engineers understand the material as they are working through it. Scoring well on these will allow the user to move forward with the class to continue taking those courses. As I mentioned earlier, instructor support is something that we feel is possibly the most important aspect of what we're offering. And this is included as one-on-one guided sessions. And those can be booked as 30-minute or hour appointments when you sign up for certain classes. These can be used at any point during the training process. We do get some questions about our online classes, and one of the most common ones that's being asked is, what version of NX are we training? Or are you training the most current version of NX? And the answer to that is yes. The instructional videos are created using the most current version of NX at the time. And right now, each video has been recorded in NX 2206 or a more recent version. And courses are updated all the time as important interactions and concepts change. Another note I want to make in the area of NX versions is that all of the downloadable models that we've created have been created in NX 1953. So even if you are using an older version of NX, you can still work with the NX parts that we're providing. Siemens, of course, is releasing a new version of NX every 6 months, and we are recording our training content with that in mind. We're making sure that the most important concepts and workflows will hold true for most versions of NX. Once an engineer has completed a course, they will be given a certificate of completion. You can download that from the course page itself, or it will be also emailed to you as well. We will also be able to notify managers of course completion with an email from the platform. So what if your engineers already have been using NX and they know the basics? We have courses with more intermediate to advanced topics available, classes such as advanced surfacing or assemblies. And depending on the topic, these classes may take half a day or a full day's worth of time to complete. More courses are being worked on all the time, and topics that will be available soon include flexible printed circuit design and a CAD for CAM users course that we like quite a bit here at Sherpa. Courses with customized content specific to your company's needs can be created and made available as well. However, our content is created so that engineers can get the most out of the program. And there are a lot of specific topics available, but we understand that customized content may be wanted, and we're more than willing to work with you on that. All right, enough talk. Let's go ahead and take a look at this training platform in action. See if I can properly switch my tabs here. But let's assume that I or my company has purchased a training course from Sherpa Design from this platform. All I have to really do is log into nxtraining.com and then go to my products where I'll be able to see the courses I'm currently enrolled in. You can see here I'm enrolled in 4 currently, and apparently I haven't done anything in them. They're all 0% complete, but I keep resetting them for myself. If I wanted to start a course or, pick up where I last left off, I would click on that course. And it would take me to the main course page where I can then start the lesson. I can also see the itinerary if I scroll down, all the videos that I'll be going through. At the very beginning, there is an overview and workbook section. And I can start playing the videos. It'll tell me a little bit about the training that you're about to take, how that works, the fact that there is a foundations or a workbook based on the topic. This one is NX Foundations. And let's see, if I click on that, will it download for me? There you go, I can open that file, take a quick look at what these books will look like. So NX CAD Foundations, title page there, a little bit about Sherpa, and then jumping into what the agenda is within the book. Then right into that first section, this one is user interface settings and preferences. And as I'm going through this book, I'll be following along in the videos, and I'll be touching on in the videos aspects that I'm seeing on the page. And so at the beginning of these sections, we'll go through some aspects of the topic and then transition at some point into activities where I will demonstrate and hopefully guide you through how to do specific things, specific tasks that we're trying to learn. If I scroll down here, we can see that first activity there. So in the course online here, if I move from the overview into the next section, so I can complete and continue that or click on the next section here, and it'll start me into that first section for the course. And I can start playing the introduction video. Usually each section will have at least one introduction video. This one is a little bit longer because we're getting right into how to use NX. And so I go on for a little while about all the various aspects of the user interface, how I can set this program up to be perfectly suitable for what I'm trying to do with it. At the beginning of each section, there will be a zip file where I can download activity files. I'll be able to put that somewhere where I can then open it up with my NX. and follow along with the activities as I'm explaining and demonstrating them with the video. So down here I have that first activity. This one actually combines activities 1 and 2 of the book. And so I can start playing that. I'll go through what is happening with the video, or what was happening with the activity. And I can either watch the entire video and then try and tackle the activity myself, or jump back and forth and follow along. But I would go to my PDF. There's step by step here, and I run through the example in the video. And let's see, go to my NX here. For example, this activity is trying to demonstrate that we have full control over our user interface. And so I'm opening up a file, and we're taking a look at adding buttons to those shortcut menus that pop up when I'm clicking on things. So you can see my mouse there. There's going to be a shortcut menu as I click on different aspects of my objects, or just simply in the background. These tools will be right next to my mouse. And so I want to be able to put what I use quite often in those pop-up menus, so that I don't have to travel all over my area here, my user interface, and change my workflow so that it is really efficient. In this case, the one that we're taking a specific look at in that first activity is that when I click on the edge of an object, I get a shortcut menu that pops up that will allow me to quickly add a blend to it, but that's it. And maybe I want to add chamfers as well. And so in that activity, I go through how to add chamfers, which I'm not going to do right now, but it involves being able to go into what is the customize environment. And the customize environment will allow me to find tools, for example, chamfer, and then I can put this tool, drag and drop wherever I want to. And on that pop-up menu, when I click on an edge, is where I'm going to be putting that. So that's just a quick example of what we're trying to do with some of these early activities, just getting used to that environment. And when I finish the activity, I can go back to my website here, and there's going to be a quiz. So at the end of a section, after I've gone through all the videos where I'm showing stuff off and kind of introducing aspects of the design process within NX, going through the activities and completing those, I can take a quick quiz, a knowledge check. For example, looks like I answered this one already earlier, but what 3 main areas of NX are there for settings and customization? Answer being here, customer defaults, preferences, and that environment we just saw called customize. So after I've finished all the videos and the sections and I've taken the quizzes, I can complete and continue that, and I will get this certificate. So if I go back, let's see, press my home here, I'll have a copy of my certificate and I can download it here. I'll also get that as an email that comes directly to me. And if I click on that, let's see if I can open that one as well. And there we have it, a certificate of completion for the class that I'm taking. And if you want to, you can maybe note that on your LinkedIn page or something. But I'll go back to this page here, and I've said the word platform a few times, and that's exactly what we've been able to do with these self-paced online courses, create a professional platform of online NX training. The same exact training that we use for Sherpa employees to get them up to speed on NX as well. This platform includes access to as many seats as you want, whether you're hiring a single engineer or hundreds at a time. You can order the classes separately, or you can get access to all the NX classes that we have on the platform all at the same time. And with this platform, of course, comes that one-on-one instructor support, that instructor time for coaching and guiding engineers through the tasks that they're being worked on in NX. So you can hopefully think of this platform as your onboarding solution to NX training. With Sherpa Design's NX training platform, we're trying to solve all these challenges that we've been talking about today. Train as you hire. With the on-demand online courses we're providing, you don't have to wait for a large group of engineers to be trained all at the same time. Scheduling also is no longer a challenge. Waiting for instructor availability or getting your team's calendars all aligned to work with an on-site training. That just isn't needed when training is readily available. Also, with this platform, training courses can be taken at a pace that works for the engineer as well as the company. So no more losing engineers for days at a time. The training can be completed on your own schedule. Thank you so much for letting me take up some of your time today and allowing us to show you our solution for NX training with Sherpa Design's platform at nxtraining.com. And I'll throw it back to Dempsey so he can tell you a little bit about the availability of a sample course.
Yeah, thanks, Devin. So yeah, we really understand here that there's not a lot of options out there. We built this through a need and customers asking for it. So that being said, if you heard anything here today that is particularly interested during this talk, definitely book a meeting with me. And at that point, I can get you or your engineering team manager some unfettered access. I can get you 7 days of a sample course of the foundation. So happy to provide that for you if you want to poke around and make sure it's a fit for you before we progress that conversation. And then we can also talk about pricing at that point. But with that, I will open it up to a brief Q&A. So if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat and we can address them. But thank you so much for joining this webinar.